Hi, welcome back to another whiteboard session. For those of you who haven't met me before, I'm Dennis Jones and I lead the team here at Judo. Judo is the only company in the world that's 100% focused on mobile or mobile payments when it comes to m-commerce. And as part of that journey, we really understand how companies engage with consumers on the go. We also understand why mobile needs to be different, and we've seen a lot of good and bad ways that companies engage with their audience and build apps that take advantage of the mobile device. So what I want to do today is talk to you about why does mobile matter, how should you think about it, and then what are some tips and tricks that we've learned from working with folks across different types of industries. Again, and as always, if you have any questions or this tees up more next steps than it does answer the specifics, contact us and we'll work with you to make sure that your app is as successful as it can be. So we all know that almost everybody has a mobile phone these days. And within the next couple of years, we'll have hit pretty much full saturation. Maybe some of the outliers won't have a phone, but anybody that intends on purchasing a smartphone will. And we're also seeing that people are buying less desktops. And they're shifting not only to smartphones on the go, but to tablets, and changing the way that they engage with commerce across the board. And where we are today is much where e-commerce was in the early 2000s or late 90s. And at that point, everybody said, gee, e-commerce is somewhere where it's a fad. We don't really need to invest to win there. And similarly, a lot of businesses or established businesses are thinking the same thing today. And that's fundamentally the wrong way to think about things. You hear pundits that say, people want to browse on their mobile and then buy later on their desktop. And the problem that is causing that behavior is actually that people have made it so hard to buy on your mobile device. Generally, when you go into a customer's or a company's website through your mobile phone, you find yourself doing this and trying to find the right place on the form for you to provide the information. There's usually 5 or 10 fields of information that's actually unnecessary. They fail to tee up the right keyboard when you're going into a field, so you're using your fat fingers to find the 0 and keep hitting the 9. Now, these are all simple problems that we here at Judo solve, but the bigger thing is to think about why does mobile need to be thought about differently? And this is what every business should start with, is think about your target audience and how they are using mobile to engage with the good or service that you're delivering. So when I think about some of the best mobile companies, they've been built purely for mobile. And I like to think about yesterday when I left the office. I walked out of here and I pulled up my phone and I pulled up an app that allowed me to order food from my local takeaway. It was a custom app for the Indian takeaway. In a couple of clicks, I'd reordered what I'd ordered the week before and paid for it. I got onto the tube and I went down underground, and of course the tube broke. And so I was pulled up to the surface with everybody else, but quickly tapped on Halo, and in 2 taps I'd booked a taxi. While I was in the taxi, I pulled up Y-Plan, and again in 2 taps I booked an event for the following evening. And I don't tell you these stories to talk about how interesting my life is, but all 3 of those experiences didn't shift my desktop experience onto mobile. They actually complemented my real-world activities. These businesses had thought specifically about how I'm engaging with that device and when I'm engaging with that company using that device, and have solved a business problem and a payment experience problem together to create a winning business. So again, when you work with Judo and you integrate us into your app, we're going to make it as simple and straightforward as it can possibly be for a consumer to pay you. And at the end of the day, that's what you want. If you're investing in any channel, be it a face-to-face retail environment or e-commerce or mobile commerce, the purpose is for you as your business to generate revenue. And if you are a mobile phone user, you know one of the most frustrating things about being on a mobile phone is having to wait. That little spinny tick, 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 tick clock wheel is what makes us want to throw our phones against the wall. And if nothing else, we're going to stop engaging with whatever we're going to do. And in fact, last year, Amazon found in a test that for every 1/10 of a second that checkout was delayed, their sales fell 1%. That's shocking. That means essentially on a mobile device, every single server call that's taking place is causing their sales to drop at least 1%. So again, with Judo, we process a payment with one server call. If you're integrating with other partners, they're probably doing it with between 10 and 14 server calls. So right there, immediately, you can see a difference in what you're going to get from your customers. When it comes to the best strategies, you want to make sure that you're being very user-centric. Take the time to really think about what your customer does and how they're engaging with you. Follow them around. What time of day do they think about your product or service? How could they better engage with you or buy that product or service for you? Is it chore-based? Is it something that people really don't like to take care of? Do they want to order the 10,000 items that you have? Or is it really just the 15 most popular? Going down and whittling it down to figure out that right experience will make sure that you're delivering something that's particular for mobile. If you're taking your e-commerce site and shrinking it for a mobile phone, you are entering into a recipe for failure. Nobody has been successful doing that for good reason. When we're on our mobile, we usually don't want choice as much as we do when we're on a desktop environment. We're dealing with small screens, we're time-starved, we're generally in a position of motion, whether that's waiting for something to take place, commuting, even sitting on the loo. You are filling up free time, and so choice is actually an enemy. When it comes to native apps, you're usually dealing with your most loyal customers, and that's what a native app is about, is really engaging with a customer and giving them the best thing that they can possibly have, the best experience. And so with those loyal customers, what do they generally want? How can you make their life easier? Can you repeat a purchase? Really thinking through and understanding what that consumer does is required for mobile. Mobile is inherently a design-led channel. You have to constantly be thinking about how does your consumer interact with you. And that means the best way to do it is to test and learn. Move quickly. Throw out there what you think makes sense and get fast feedback. Because a lot of the times you're not going to know exactly how your consumer would engage with you without actually giving them a prototype to play with and getting their feedback from them. But on mobile, that's pretty easy to do. You can create a very quick and dirty app. Judo integrates with one line of code. Plenty of other of the pieces that you need to pull together for an MVP app are there at the beginning. So you put that MVP together and you constantly iterate and learn. And you understand from that customer. And around here, we have a saying called, make sure it's solo-mo. So it's social. It's taking advantage of the fact that you're engaging in a relationship with that customer and they want to engage with you. That means giving them rewards or reasons for promoting you, easily linking to Facebook and other social media areas, and then making sure that you have a way of engaging with that user on your platform because they've just identified themselves as your most loyal customer. Make sure it takes advantage of local, or basically the fact that you can understand where a consumer is at any given period of time. Depending on your business, that may help you, much like in a taxi situation with Halo, find where to pick someone up. Or it may allow you to automatically suggest the location where you'll pick up food because you know it's the closest one. Or any other host of ideas that help to simplify that experience because you have knowledge about where that customer is. And finally, Mo, or mobile. And this just simply means that you're thinking about your customer on the go. What does that customer want? And it's certainly not what they want when they're sitting down in front of a desktop computer. It's different. And if you can harness those differences, you can help push the mobile commerce revolution and not fall behind, much like you might have in the e-commerce revolution. So today, about 60% of UK customers make at least one payment a month. And the real question is, why aren't they making that payment to you? So hopefully, by working with Judo and partnering together to create the perfect app for you, you can help make sure that you maximize your sales and you grab that UK consumer. I'm Dennis Jones, and thank you again for tuning in to Whiteboard Day.